All right, we're live on the air, and this beautiful, lovely Sunday in New York where it's about 1 degree still, and we're here with Scott Norris, who's in an equally cold state of
Oh,
Wisconsin.
I think it's like 3 times as warm here.
Oh, you're 3 degrees instead of
Yeah.
one?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I think they're gonna rename New York New Dakota, I think is what they're thinking about.
Well, you've got more snow than Dakotas, I think.
Yeah, this year has been kind of weird. I feel kind of partly to blame because I was complaining when people asked me why I was moving. I said, I'm moving from New York because it's always cold here and we hardly get any snow. So this year it's been really cold and we've gotten a whole lot of snow. So I apologize to everybody out there. It might be my fault. Somebody was listening at the wrong time or something. I don't know. So we're here with Scott for his level 9 critique. He's looking to pass into the ever amazing Sphere 1.
I'm
What do you think?
excited.
You got a shot?
I'm sorry?
I said, what do you think? You think you got a shot?
Well, I think probably, and I might be able to get a couple points.
We got a new thing. As you can see, we have a scorecard at the top of my screen now, a live scorecard.
Oh, I just saw that. Wow.
Yeah, we're really I'm just trying to make all the other masters be like, how the hell is he doing all this crap?
Do you have sound effects too?
I do, but I don't use them.
Okay.
Because yeah, that's Ron Clifford. If you get it with Ron, Ron just he's crazy man with that soundboard. So, and I've been looking for one that allows me to load my own samples because boy, I could have a lot of fun with that. But wait, I don't know how all that works. So we're not going to get into sound just yet. I got too much stuff going on as it is. But we do have a neat graphic for score. So
there we go.
Yeah, awesome. So you brought me 3 photos plus 2 bonus photos.
I still wanted to do 5. I don't like this going down to 3.
Well, and you know what? Bonus cantos, as they say in the baseball world. I appreciate the fact that you brought me 5, and if anybody wants to bring me 5 or 10 or 50 photos, I don't care. In fact, I think most of the rules say that it's suggested, which means that if you bring a few more, that's cool, man. You want to know more. There's nothing wrong. I'm not going to penalize anybody for saying, well, I brought you 5 photos instead of 3. Sorry about that. Well, no, that's awesome. So we're going to do all 5, man. Yeah, I got them all loaded up. We're good to go.
Sweet.
Yeah. All right, so I am going to screen share here, and we're going to get started on this. So I'm going to try this button here and that button there, and you should see something way more pleasant than my face right about now.
Well, I see something, yes.
Cool. Awesome. Your name and lights, right?
Yes.
Ta-da! That always works. Okay, so we talked quickly about the rule changes, and you have to pass a 4-point threshold. Here's the other thing. I'm only going to grade you on your first 3 photos because that's all I can do. But I'm going to do all 5 because we have to stay within this points thing.
Ooh, that makes it more. Oh, I thought I was get those 5. I was going to make it. I don't know now.
See, yeah, you thought you could stack it.
Yeah.
Can't do that. No, can't. There's no way around the system, man.
Man.
This is hard coded. So yeah. So there's no way to cheat the system. The Arcanum is all powerful. So, anyways, we got a 4-point threshold for 3 photos. I certainly hope that you can make that.
Yeah, I don't. We'll see.
It's level 9, folks. We're leveling. We want 2s here and 3s if we can. So, you guys have all heard these points things before. I'm sure nobody's watching my critiques because they're extra long, and so I'm not really worried about spelling all this stuff out for everybody. I know probably the bosses are I'm gonna get a talking to at some point in time for these pre warm up shows. But anyways, you know the deal. You know how it goes. You've done this before, and you've watched a billion of these, and I'm sure everybody else has. So there'll be some new folks coming in, and you guys can read while I've been bantering on here. So we're just gonna move right into Scott's first photo. 4 minutes. That's all it took me to get to this spot.
That's not bad.
It's pretty good, man. All right, I don't have I have this timer thing I was gonna put up in the other corner. Really cool, and then that way we have a timer thing ongoing and everything. But
running time.
All right, man. I looked at the before photos and the after photos. So Scott sent me some super high res images of these, and I got to look at those, and I got to look at the image before, and I wish I could show the two together. I might be able to pull one of those up in the background while you're talking about this, but I really like. I think people really don't understand how much work you've done, and I think it's pretty cool. So why don't you tell me a little bit about the location, because we're not quite into the goal yet, even though you're already kind of there. You've been watching and learning in the background. So why don't you talk to me a little bit about, where this wonderful shot is at and what it's about.
Well, this is Bradford Beach along Lake Michigan, and it's kind of hard to see because there's a big layer of ice hiding the lake, but it's off to the right there, and it's actually kind of in the center too, behind the Cabana building there. It's about 10 minutes from my house, which I love. And this day it was not cold. It looks really cold, but a lot. And what's interesting is a lot what looks like sand there is actually sand, but it's actually been blown on top of the snow. So that's all snow with sand on top.
Oh, wow.
I made the mistake of just, I could just walk across there, and went about 6-8 inches down. I'm like, okay, that's still snow.
Wow.
But this day was actually about 40 degrees, so there were a lot of people out. And in the before, you can see there's 3 people, and the shot that I sent you, I'd already removed the dog. So there were 3 people and a dog in this shot. But I love this building in the winter because it's just there's a mood that it creates of loneliness and isolation, and that's what I was kind of going for with this. It was partially overcast, and it went from being almost blue sky to completely white, which was kind of tough when you were going for this stark look. I didn't want the blue sky, and I got lucky on this one. This is a pano. I think there was 6 or 7 shots in this, and it's HDR, so there's 3 brackets for each one.
Nice.
And then I went into a couple different things. I think this is mostly impression, but I also, in Photoshop, I brought in, I kind of brought some of the edges back in to give it a little bit of sharpness. And then a lot of color grading and all that kind of fun stuff.
Yeah, excellent job on this. I really like the. You've kind of picked up on a style lately that you've been going with. I think we've talked about this. I'm going to slide in this other image. We're breaking the rules again. Look out, here comes another image. I want everybody to see. This is the before photo, before Scott worked on this particular shot. Check this out. So there it is. That's before, and then that is after. It's pretty wicked, man. I really like it. It's definitely a lot of editing there to get that to look like that.
Yeah, and one of the nice things about impression is if you have to remove things from the shot, impression helps you cover up the lines. There's a building on the very far left side of this frame that I didn't want in there, but when I tried to take it out, all those trees and everything in there, you could see the edits.
Sure.
But with impression, I mean, the building was not important, but I didn't want people looking over there,
right.
And so it kind of covers it up.
Yeah, and I'm really glad that you sent me the before image, and then obviously the after, and then the high res, so I could take a look at this, because I'm a little concerned with possibly your monitor calibration with the blown out areas in the sky. There's some definite gamut problems, like right in here.
Okay.
Where you've got it goes from gray to, and there's a pink in here, believe it or not, which might be hard to see from the color grading, and then it goes to pure white. Okay. So if you're not seeing those 3 levels on your particular monitor, then it might be that your monitor is either too bright or too dark, one of the two, but they're showing up as pretty stark digital patches in there, and that's kind of killing your overall. But I'm glad you sent me what you did, because it gave me a chance to actually look at them outside of this presentation program and also outside of the YouTube broadcast. which is always dumbs everything down, so you can't really tell.
Yeah, I can. It really looks blown out there. I'm looking at it on my other monitor here, and I don't see that. So.
Yeah. So.
And the other monitor is my good monitor, so that's the one I'll have to fix.
Yeah, definitely take a look at that. If you look at this photo, it's right through here, like an S, right through there, and then also through here as well. You take care of that though, and this is definitely right up there as a top shot. I love what you've done with it. I love the direction that you're going with your art. You're taking your photos and you kind of, like what Barry has done, you've kind of created your own technique with these tools. It doesn't look anything like what he's doing, yet you've got the same idea going of taking your photos, and then the other thing is what I tried to tell Barry too, and he's just started working with this, which is amazing, is to do these edits and then apply impressions to it, because it really blends everything. It works as a really nice blender where you don't have to make sure that everything is cut perfectly and all that.
Yeah.
It really lends itself to that. So excellent.
I do all of my editing. I do this as if this is going to be a straight photograph, and then I look at it and say, does it work for me that way, or do I want to do more?
Awesome.
And so it always works out that I can cover up things. And I actually tried to remove both those posts on the right side.
Yeah.
And it just. I could have covered some of it up, but it's just there's too much going on there in the tones of the sand and the snow, and that it just never looked right. So I left them in. There were some ropes that went off frame that I took out.
Well, I actually I like the pylons there. Just kind of I kind of think that it lends a little bit of interest, and it also creates a line in the composition, something maybe you hadn't thought of. But your vanishing point is somewhere over in here with the building. So these really lend to keeping that line for you, and I think that works really well. You've got things pointing right into the abyss over here in the distance, which really works well with your eye. So I think it's a simple elements again, always the best. Simple palette, always awesome. And a great job here of the whole treatment of everything and the direction that you're going in. I love it. Good stuff, man.
Thanks.
I gave this a 2 because you need to calibrate that monitor.
All right.
So definitely get on that. And
the monitor's fault.
It is the monitor's fault, but once we start moving into this level of things, these are kind of, when I used to work in the recording industry, it was the same thing with the recording industry. You guys would be like, you got to have this, you got to have that. I was like, I can make it work on this, blah, blah, blah. But then I found out that it would work, but then when I took my recordings someplace else, they would sound different. And then I would take them someplace else, and they'd sound different again. And I'd play them in the car, and they'd sound different. And I'd play them at home and sound different. And what I found out was that I needed to build a room that had certain frequencies that I could measure, and then I needed monitors that put sound out that basically were flat and weren't colored by the room. Right. And you had certain treatments that you could put in the room, and we measured it to get it flat. And then, once I learned that, suddenly my art made sense, because I would record it, I would mix it, it would sound awesome. I'd take it out in the car, it'd sound awesome. I'd take it home, it'd sound awesome. It's kind of the same thing with prints. You get that calibrated, and then when you go to print it, you go to ship it out someplace, it's going to be awesome no matter where it's at. So
that is on my list of things to purchase is some good monitors, because I've got 2 and they're both not great. One of them is bad and one of them is not great. So
well, you don't have to break. I'll tell you, you don't have to break the bank on a monitor as long as you get something that's got a good contrast ratio and IPS. Very important for any photographer to get an IPS monitor, and that's just a monitor that does not contrast change when you move up and down and right and left. If you're working on a photo and you're just not at the same angle every time, then these tones, you can have a perfectly calibrated monitor. If it's not IPS, if you're not perfect, your eyes aren't perfectly centered on the monitor, then as you move sideways, all of these areas that are normally in gamut will suddenly just blend in, or you won't see them. So
I don't have that.
Yeah,
I'm looking IPS right now.
Yeah, and IPS monitors today are very inexpensive. These Asus monitors that I use, I have 3 of them, and they're all IPS, and I think I paid $150 a piece for these when they
Oh,
were on
that's
sale. And they're great. They calibrate within 98% of sRGB, which is fine for me. 98% is pretty darn close.
yeah.
And there's HP makes a great monitor. I think Caleb got one of those. That's a beautiful monitor. But you're going to spend quite a bit more money for something like that. For me, I just went with 24s and many of them. And I'm thinking now that I want to actually pare this down to maybe just 2 monitors and get higher resolutions and maybe run them in portrait mode in a higher
Nice.
resolution. Not sure yet. I'm still floundering on that. But all right, that's another topic and another discussion altogether. You're going to kick the monitor's butt and get 3 points next time.
Yep.
All right, this I think is a cohort favorite. It might be an internet favorite. It's a pretty scary photo, though, Scott. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what your thoughts were on this day?
I didn't really have any thoughts about the way I looked. I knew I wanted to. There's something about our bathroom that I just loved, the really white tones and the old style look, and I wanted to take a picture of someone in the mirror. And because I didn't have anybody else, I did me, and I wanted it to be really simple tones. So that's just a thermal shirt that I had. That was the only thing long sleeve shirt that I had was white.
It's awesome.
And I just wanted kind of a somber mood, so I just gave him my somber look and did the shot. And then, of course, there's a lot of
be your profile shot.
It is on Facebook right now.
Yeah. I will disturb you.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of people saying you're scaring me.
Well, it was when I saw the TGIF version of this that was scary. When you put the mask on, I was like, whoa. All right.
I wanted to spend more time with that one, but I was thrown together for just one day, so I did a little work, but not a lot.
And you did some more work with impressions with this, I take it. And,
yeah.
And you're using blending as well, right?
Yeah.
When you're doing this?
Yeah, it's never straight, and sometimes it's 2 or 3 different passes of impression for different strokes.
Yeah, this is totally awesome, and I love the direction that you're heading with this. And we're going to look at some other works from you that take it a little bit more even further. And just again, as long as you don't mind me showing the befores, because
go ahead.
Want to show everybody kind of this is the before shot. So if you're ready for this, so get your creative hats on out there, folks, because Scott's really leading the way with these. There's a lot of editing there, man, that you had to do to get all of the. I'm taking this isn't. You don't put these things up on.
No, I do not.
Or do you?
No.
This does not look like a guy's bathroom. I'm just saying.
Well, it's a shared bathroom, and guys don't really do much in bathrooms.
We don't.
We don't. There's a few pictures in there that are mine, but other than that, my wife spends more time with making it look nice. So
there you go. And this is also the portrait that he put together for that as well. So. There you go. Nice work, man. That is awesome.
Man there, isn't it?
It's totally awesome. Was this right after you went out and you walked in the freezing cold and didn't get any photos? Because it kind of looks like what I would look like if I did that. I'd be kind of upset.
I think that's me after I've been sitting in front of the computer animating for 8 or 10 hours.
There you go. That's awesome. Great job. It's I love this so much, and I've looked at it so often. And every time I look at it, it cracks me up and creeps me out all at the same time. So
I've had several people ask me, "Where's the camera in this shot?"
Yep, absolutely, man. That's what's great about it.
And I mean, I tried to figure out a way to shoot that without doing the double exposure, and there's no way to do it.
Right. Yeah. I think that doing the multiplicity thing with the shot there, leaving the camera there, or adding the two together, I think is about the only way that you'd get it nice and clean like that. So Really awesome job. I gave you 3 points on it. That's just killer.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Good stuff, man. It's a great direction that you're headed in. You've already passed. Can you believe it? Just like that.
I don't believe it.
That's unbelievable. Two photos in and he passes already. I think that score thing, I'm telling you, has got to be higher. All right, let's take a look at this next shot here. All right, where are we at? Under the bridge.
Under the bridge, and this I keep going back to this place because it's never I don't get to travel a lot, and there's a lot of times that I don't even have the car. So I'm really lucky to have the Milwaukee River on one side and Lake Michigan on the other, and then downtown with some cool stuff too. So I don't have to walk far to get to these places, but I keep coming back to this because it's gritty, and I love the old graffiti on this. It's a lot. It's really cool. And on the other side of the river, there's a path here. On the other side there's a path too, but the west side is a little more sketchy, and so there'll be tents over there where homeless people are sleeping. And
gotcha.
I did a shot on the other side where there's a big fire pit over there that people light fires under the bridge every night in the winter. So.
Wow.
And yeah, I don't remember off the top of my head, but someone requested. They said you have to bring this one, so I said okay.
Yeah, it's just it's a great shot, man. The treatment again, you're taking it past. You know, you're adding the grit to it. You're being fearless, which is awesome. Not afraid to put it out there and say, you know what, this is the way I see it, the way I want it, and your artistic hand is showing, and that's great. I think that's where everybody needs to get with their work. Does everybody need to be the same? Absolutely not. But it's pushing the boundaries that are they're gonna find you what you want to do with your work, whether it be straight up photography, street photography. All these motions that we're going through are just basically to find that resolution at the end, and it's clear that some of you are really getting there. You've kind of opened up and just said, yeah, man, I'm going to try this and see where it goes and use these tools and see what happens. And I think it really shows in this as well. And for me, this is another image I've seen because I'm on your Facebook page and I see you in my feed. So I've seen some of these images prior to this and enjoyed them. Yeah, I think this is a great shot. I don't know. I got to be honest with you. I love the composition, and I love the fact that the treatment and everything you did with it. But I'm not sure that it's quite of the level of some of the other stuff that you're doing as far as being a portfolio shot.
Sure.
For me, I think it's cool. It's a favorite area, and I really do dig the graffiti down there. The composition is killer. It's dead on. I guess it's a personal choice. For me, it's something that I see all too often here in this area. So it's like a real common subject for me. And even though I have these areas, I don't even go there because there's so much of it. But I think that capturing it in the winter is something different than I see a lot of times. You see a lot of guys who go out, take the steel wool out, and spin the steel wool under here, and that's pretty atypical shot these days. But yeah, I think that for me, for score-wise, this is definitely a 3. I think it's right on line with where you're headed, and portfolio worthy if that's your choice. That's totally up to you.
Well, I would want to redo this one and take back some of the texturing in there. It's a little too gritty now that I look at it compared to what I've been doing.
Yeah, you think?
And I would do some more color toning on it because I think it's a little too, for me, looking at it, it's a little too yellow.
Yeah. You could be right there.
I was going for that look, but now that I'm looking at it, I would at least the river I didn't do much to because it is that kind of greenish color.
Yeah.
I'd want to do something with that. But when I shot this, I used my neutral density filter because I really wanted that water to be smooth there.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's a great shot. I'm not sure if the subject matter is overshot or if it's something you can work with or do with. I'm not, the grittiness part of it doesn't really bother me. The main part of the subject here is this beautiful S curve of water that you have going underneath here, with the two big T's going on up at the top with the helo underneath, which is awesome.
And Chelsea says that means ice in Spanish. So.
Oh, there you go. Cool.
And I actually did a lot of work on this. There was a couple trees that actually went across the bridge on the top. That I worked on this one for about a week because it was tedious getting rid of all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, good job, because I wouldn't have known to look at it. So that's always a sign that your work is working, is when you can't tell anywhere that those type of edits have been done. So.
Oh, and Jimi Hendrix is in this shot too.
Jimi Hendrix is in this shot.
Yeah, up on the top left.
Oh yeah, look at that. Some crazy person was up there, and yeah, I don't know how some of those taggers do it. That's pretty crazy.
They don't climb over the side of the bridge. They had to climb underneath to get there.
Yeah, that's nuts, man.
Yeah.
Not me. Awesome job, dude.
Thank you.
I'm loving it. Loving the creativity. That gives you an 8-point score right now. Something I just realized, the scores don't come up over our lovely screen share. I'm going to have to fix that. I have ways. I have ways to fix that. All right, cool. Let's look at this next shot. So we're out of here now, folks. Just so you know, that was it. So Scott got 8 points. He basically doubled what he needed to get. So this is all just for your pure enjoyment from here on out. So if you're tuning in, we just did a 30-minute critique. Okay? So now you can shut the tape off if you want. I suggest you don't, because you're going to want to see these cool photos. But there, 30-minute critique. Just make everybody happy.
There we go.
Right.
Nice.
Carry on, my good man.
This was the same day as I shot the Bradford Beach Cabana. And as you can see, it was more blue sky than the overcast, and there was actually a haze in the air, which is kind of nice. It made for some really nice light, and I love shooting this time of year because you can basically go out upward in Milwaukee almost any time of the day and get good light. At least you don't get the harsh shadows that you get in the middle of the summer, which is nice. But I was trying to get to a place where there was a whole bunch of ice on chain link fences and stuff, and I walked by these benches and turned around and walked right back and stuck my tripod there and said, "This is a good shot. I'm going to take it." So then I got it back, and I wanted to give it that painterly look again, and so I did it, and there it is.
It has a real fine, almost watercolor look to it. Which I really like a lot, and I think that's from what I've seen, the treatment that you're giving is almost more of a Japanese art or a watercolor type look. It's very, like just the grass out here is very fine and frail. It almost looks like tea stained. Very
Sure.
cool, very nice work.
I actually, and I'm going to do a video tutorial for this, but I have a thing that I do in Photoshop where I actually just create outlines, so I can, and I started using that originally to sharpen just the outlines of images, because you don't want to sharpen everything. Sometimes you just want that outline, and what I'm using is to bring the outlines of these objects back into the frame, so it brings some of the detail of the images on top of the what I get out of impressions.
Yeah, take a look at the Super Sharpener preset in my Lightroom pack, because that's essentially exactly what that does. It only sharpens the edge of the contrast parts of the image. So it might work just as a single click for you, and you might not have to.
I've got an action so it's a single click.
There you go. I was going to say, because
I do it so often that I'm like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Although sometimes it's dependent on I work with channels.
Yep.
And sometimes if you have an image that's all red, and usually I use the red channel because it's got the most information for the most part. Sometimes you have to use a different channel. So
there you go. Well, very awesome work again, and if I had to score this would definitely be a 3. Probably one of my more favorite images that you submitted, and it just simply, I really like the simplicity of it. It's very fine artish. It's, simple elements again with the snow and the two benches and just, the grass is an element. So you're keeping it very down to those bare minimums, and starting simple. Now, we talked in all of these critiques about composition and stories and all this kind of stuff, and I'm mentioning this simplicity quite a bit, and I'm not suggesting that that's all anybody does, but we have to start someplace. So it's awesome you guys are embracing this sort of minimalistic type of photography first, and then you can compound on that as you grow and go. But you guys are grasping this quite well and getting on board with it, which is awesome, and it's really a treat for me to see. As I work on doing the same sort of thing for my own work, which I tend to feel half the time is too busy. So,
one of the things that I've just recently, I mean, I've only been in the cohort since October, but there are so many little things that I've learned through the cohort that have really helped me out. One of them is straightening lines, because with any lens, just about you're going to get a little bit of curvature, and I've always left that in there because I didn't know how to take it out. And so that's helping. The content-aware fill. I've been using Photoshop since the beginning and did not know that existed. And that,
yeah, it's a tool, man.
I mean, because there's times that I've tried to remove things out of shots that it just doesn't work because the spot removal tool doesn't work or the cloning tool doesn't work, and that thing works awesome. And so that has really helped because there's images that in the past that I have thrown away because I could not remove something out of a shot. So,
yeah, and there's always they're always improving that tool as well. So it's only getting better with each release that they put out. So it's really awesome, and it's come a long way from when they first released it, which it was a huge wow tool when it first came out. But they used it, and they just demonstrated it in a way where it was kind of foolproof, But then when you got it into the real world and tried to use it, it didn't quite do what it was supposed to. But they've really caught that up now and done an excellent job. So yeah, it's an invaluable tool for, removing the stray. There's signs everywhere. Everywhere you go, there's a sign for some idiot who fell off something or whatever.
Isn't there a song about that?
Yeah, and we just us photographers, we don't like to have to. We're a pretty smart bunch, and we usually don't like to have to look at those signs in our photos. So it's thank goodness for that tool. So. Yeah, great job here, and just keep on this path, man, because I really like where you're going with it. And let me ask you something, because this is something, I know you've played around a little bit with filters and that kind of stuff, but it's only been like in the last 3 months or so that you've really kind of put it to the forefront, right?
Yeah. Well, part of it, I've always wanted it to do this painterly look, and I was trying to do it through some of the Topaz tools before Impression and Glow could do some of it, but it was always a little garish, and it was never as good. And then I thought, well, maybe I could do something in 3D where I'm using particles, and I could never get anything to work. And then Impression came out, and I'm thinking that's what I wanted to make. Right. And part of being in the cohort too is I've always had this pull on me to say I'm a photographer. I can't change things. Photography is, my degree's in photojournalism. I've never worked as a journalist in my life, but that's where my base was. And so there's always that voice saying, you can't do this.
Correct.
And I finally let go of that and said, this is what I want to do. I don't care what I shot. If I want to add a third bench into the shot, I'm going to do it.
Right.
I want to make the water purple, I'm going to do it.
Right. Absolutely.
And so that has been the big thing. But part of also what you're seeing right now is just the fact that it's really cold and there's not a lot of cool landscapes to shoot. So,
yeah.
So when it gets to spring and summer, it might change again. But I'm definitely going to stay with this. I don't like the term painterly because that just gives there's a connotation there. But this look, I'm gonna work with this and try to keep up with it because I really like it.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's anytime there's ever a question, if anybody challenges you, remember where you're learning is in the Arcanum, which is got the word art all over it. So we're not teaching photography here, we're teaching art. So photography is just your tool.
Right.
And if you choose to be a straight journalist photographer, that's great too. Absolutely. And there is plenty of room for you out there, and there are plenty of cohorts that are doing that sort of thing. What we're doing in this cohort is really moving towards the artistic photographer, and basically saying, here's a whole bunch of tools, and go out and have fun with it, and enjoy what you're doing, and enjoy what you're creating. And that's when you're going to create the best stuff, not when you're building things for other people, not when you're, somebody says, well, I don't see why you put textures in your shots, and then you all of a sudden don't put textures in your shots anymore. Don't listen to that. If you like textures, that's right. If you like textures, you put them in there. If you like, plastic snowmen, put them in there. Whatever your deal is, man, have fun with it and enjoy it. And I know it sounds, all hippie and all this kind of stuff, but it's true. It's art. It's art. Yeah. You're supposed to be having fun with it. I just want to quickly show too your before image. So you have quite a bit of a blown out area that's showing up on my monitor here as well.
Yeah.
Right along this right edge. So just again, just think about that calibration thing. I think Color Monkey is probably right in there. Decent price. I have the Spider 4 Pro, but either one of those will work.
I looked today and it said it was like $500 for that. But
for the Color Monkey?
Yeah.
I think you can get one for like $199, but
okay.
I know you can get the Spider Pro 4 for like $149.
Okay.
I could throw you some links on that. But what Scott was talking about is lens distortion. So we're not really talking about like uprights or perspective distortion like you would get from a building shooting up at it and it was leaning back. But all lenses have a certain amount of bend to them. So, Lightroom and all these programs have the ability to take lines like this and straighten them out. Now, this line here kind of looks like it was naturally curved, and it looks like your horizon is actually nice and flat. So you did some work here to actually
I wanted it all.
I
wanted that straight. And one note on this image, one thing you should be aware of when you're removing spots from your images is make sure your monitor is clean when you're doing that, because those spots on your monitor, Photoshop cannot remove it. There was up in the left-hand corner. There was just some spots, and I got to clean my sensor because there's spots all over. But the spot wouldn't go away, and I'm like, man, what is Photoshop? I closed Photoshop, opened it back up, and then I realized that spot's in a different place this time. So,
I scrubbed a hole right through my monitor.
Yeah.
Isn't that something? Yeah, definitely make sure that you're not working with a monitor that's not clean, because that'll definitely drive you nuts.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's look at your final image here and get these folks on their way. Tell me a little bit about this guy. I'm going to show the before to this too. As well.
I shot this. This is up in the Door County Peninsula, way up in the top. I think it's on Highway 42. It sits right on the road in front of a farm, and it is one of the most photographed sites in Door County outside of the landscapes. And I've shot this a couple times, and was never quite been happy with it. And partially is because when I was doing the shooting of this, I didn't have a tripod on one of them, and I just didn't spend the time because we were driving, and my wife was in the car, and she said, "Come on, let's go. Just a second, I want to take a shot." But the car I just love, and so I started playing around with this one, and this is a mixture of particles for my 3D program, Softimage, that I use, that I created some outlines, and then took that into Impression and did some work with that, and then brought it into Photoshop and started layering. People have asked me to do a tutorial on this. I can't do a tutorial on this one because I don't know what I did. Because that's one of the things with a lot of the work that I'm doing with this is it's on the fly, and so which is a problem, because sometimes if I get too far and want to go back, I have to start over because I don't know what I did 10 steps before. So it's an organic thing, which is nice. So I guess in a way it's a lot like painting, because you can't remove brushstrokes. You have to paint it over and go again. So.
Yeah, absolutely, and this is broken down again into just two basic colors. Really the burnt umber and it looks just like you did this in watercolor over a pencil drawing. I mean, you couldn't tell, even when you zoom in on this, on the one that you sent, that was high res. Very difficult to tell that it wasn't that you took the photo and then you painted it from the photo. I mean, it's seriously,
Yeah.
you can't tell.
Yeah, the only thing I really brought back into the image, some of the lines along the hood, the headlights, the grille, a little bit on the bumper. I brought some lines back in because the details were getting lost. The headlights were the biggest thing that I brought back because I really wanted those lines in it.
Yeah, that was the suggestion that I was going to actually make to you, is the hood lines. These beautiful. So let's show the. I'm going to really quickly. I'm going to show the before image, just so it's going to freak you guys out when you see the difference. So this is the original image. So it's pretty huge departure there, and a lot of work gone into this. These are the lines here that I'm kind of missing.
Okay, yeah.
Those nice. And in this image in itself is gorgeous. I mean, I just love the depth of field that you built here, and you know, just blurred out everything that's in the background, and I just really like the way that you know, the face of the car is just really sharp, tack sharp, and so both of these images work really well by themselves. But the amount of work that just, you know, went into that is just incredible. So let me just show you there side by side so you can see.
Yeah, that was a tough shot because the car sits on an incline.
Oh, okay.
So you can't have a straight horizon behind it,
Right.
and the car straight without doing a lot of work. And so that's one of the reasons I blurred everything out, because you know, I had my tripod set up so the car was straight, but then the barn in the back was at a weird angle.
Right.
And if I reshot this again, I would shoot it my lens wide open so I could get the depth of field in shot instead of trying to go through and fake it.
Yeah. So telltale, just if you do shoot this again, and it just I would is you were slightly to the left of center, which what happens. So when I look at this image, and everything I love about it doesn't really matter at this point, but when I look at it, it really looks like the car's leaning to the left.
Yeah.
To me, and it's not. So just so people know that the bumper is actually straight. The headlights are fairly even, but when you get to the top, it is actually wider on one side than it is on the other. You could fix this even after it's done by distorting this and bringing one side of the image down in Photoshop and then recropping it, and it would actually even both sides. And I would suggest that if you want to do that, what I would do is lay down some rulers in Photoshop and then just line everything up dead on. And you'll have to distort the image slightly to get that to happen, but then it won't look like it's leaning anymore. It's just got this kind of, it's not like a lean back or anything. It's kind of just like a lurch over to the left a little bit when I looked at this.
Well, it is a junk car, so
it is a junk car, and it is such a strong image that it's last on my mind to worry about. So I wouldn't really worry about it. I wouldn't go through the work to do it, to be honest.
I've got other things to work on, I'm sure.
There you go. Yeah, and you know, you're still young in this journey of doing this sort of stuff, so I think that the focus needs to continue on doing more pieces. Just keep them flowing and stay on this lovely sketch background, single color image, foreground. I think that's killer, dude.
Yeah, I was looking for other images that I've shot that work with this technique, and I haven't found any yet. But I'm sure I can make it work.
Yeah, and I mean, you have submitted some new images working with the 3D software that you didn't bring in because of the timing of the critique and whatnot, which I'm excited to see if they make it into the next round or where you take the next round, because they are even further along than this is. So it's quite impressive. So
yeah, I think I put a couple into my 15 images or 18 or whatever I put up.
Yeah,
but I wanted to. I just like these images. Right now, this is what I really like. The 3D, I like it, but it's still not where I want it to be.
Well, I think it's a great combo of that you're mixing your day job with your night job, so to speak. Yeah. Because I know what it's like to Gronk behind the 3D software or in anything. You know, when you're working at it for somebody else or you're fulfilling a client's request, you know, halfway through the project, you start out with, yeah, I can't wait to do this. You get in there, and then there's 8,000 revisions, and by the time you're done, you're just like, let me be done with this. This is like, I need to be done with it. And I think that sometimes it can wear heavy on you for something that you started out enjoying a lot, and then it becomes a job, and it's tough to get up in the morning and go, yeah, I want to work in 3D today.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
I don't have trouble with that with photography. I have trouble sleeping.
Well, and I think that you know, now that you're bringing in a little bit of the 3D into it and being able to mix it together, I think is a good thing for you, because it's going to make you enjoy the 3D stuff too again. So very cool. Awesome job. I'm going to sign off the broadcast. We did it. 5 images, 50 minutes.
We did the critique in 30.
I'm just saying.
There you go.
Professional. All right. Good deal. I'm going to stop the broadcast. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. And great job, Scott. I cannot wait to see what you do in the next few levels, man. It's going to be awesome. I'm going to invite you. Oh, you know what we didn't get to? Oh, my gosh.
What
did we get to? We didn't get to... Ta-da! Congratulations.
Oh, there we go. Nice.
Yes, you have graduated, and I'm going to send you a certificate in metal, actually.
A metal certificate. Wow.
Yeah, metal certificate. And you're going to need to send me your shoot me an email with your address so that I can do that.
Is that like a golden ticket?
The golden ticket, yes. I have Janice's ready to go too, so I'd like to do both of yours together and get them right out.
Sure.
So yeah, very cool, man. I am so looking forward to the future. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Cool beans. All right. Thanks, folks. We're stopping now, for real.